2 Kings at chapter 4, verse 1 through 7. And I want to talk about holding it together while falling apart. Now the wife of a member of the company of prophets cried to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord. But a creditor has come to take my 2 children as slaves." Elisha said to her, "What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house?" She answered, "Your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil." He said, "Go outside, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels, and not just a few. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your children and start pouring into all these vessels. When each is full, set it aside." So she left him and shut the door behind her and her children. They kept bringing vessels to her, and she kept pouring. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another vessel." But he said to her, "There are no more." Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts, and you and your children can live on the rest." Thank you. You may have your seats. The grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of our God shall stand forever. Holding it together while falling apart. Several years ago, our sister Gwen, who is gone to be with the Lord, suffered 10 brain aneurysms.
Good evening, everybody. This is the DCN. For you all that are on, listen to Reverend Terry K. Anderson. We'll begin at 1 o'clock to talk about what I'm going to talk about. So just continue to listen to Terry K. Anderson.
She had 4 surgeries, one right after another. When they thought they had found all of the aneurysms, they found another. And she spent some time convalescing at Methodist Hospital. And she was on the 16th floor of Methodist Hospital, and the aneurysms had so rattled her brain and her mind and her perception and her thought process that she could not figure out how she would get down from the 16th floor. And every day I went to visit with her, she would ask, "How are we going to get out of here? How are we going to get away from this floor?" And I tried to explain to her that we could use the elevator or we could take the stairs. But somehow she couldn't process it because in her mind, she was trapped. That's a metaphor for this little message this morning. Have you ever felt trapped? Have you ever felt like you were at the end of your rope? If you felt like you were trapped or at the end of your rope, realism says, tie a knot in it and hold on. Pessimism says you might as well let go because it's going to get worse. Optimism says just tie another knot and keep climbing. Each disposition holds some merit, but often at the end of your rope, there's a long drop between you and the ground. Somebody here this morning is holding it together while falling apart. Problems with your children. You raised them the best you could. You brought them up in church, in the fear and the admonition of God, and they walked away from how they were raised. You're holding it together while falling apart. Nobody wants their marriage to end in divorce. No one wants to be a poster child for a broken marriage. But it happens that situations come in our lives to tear and rip apart what we thought would last forever. Holding it together while falling apart. Problems at your job, and you know you need to work. You hate Monday is coming because you've got to go to meet those people and deal with a supervisor who's trying all they know how to make you quit. Co-workers that you can't stand. Obligations that you know you have, and a job that you know you hate, but you're holding it together while falling apart. Sometimes there's too much muff for your money. Holding it together while falling apart. The death of a loved one. Heartbreak. Shattered dreams. Hopes that have been dashed. I can't tell you how many Sunday mornings I've been holding it together while falling apart. The burden, the stress, the pressure that weighs on the man of God. I preach to you. I counsel with you. I stand with you. But there are times I need somebody to stand with me. I need somebody just for me to lean on, to hold on to tell me that tomorrow is going to be a better day. Holding it together while falling apart. My sister, again, Gwen, who was closer to me than my other siblings, took care of me, bathed me, made sure I had everything I needed. At my anniversary, the second Sunday in February, the last conversation she had on Monday at 12:30 was with me. 1:30, her daughter-in-law called and told me they couldn't get a pulse. She died, dropped dead. 39 days later, my brother Ray, who was at her funeral, helping Johnny and I to lower her casket, I heard him say to her, "I'll see you soon." He died 39 days later. I stood up at his funeral to preach, and people thought how strong I was, but I was holding it together while falling apart. Somebody's in here this morning smiling to keep from crying. I wish I had somebody to help me preach. You look good on the outside. You have a public presence, but some private pain. Holding it together while falling apart. But I've got some good news for you this morning. God knows our problems. I said, God knows our problems. God knows. Not only does he know, but the choir just told us he can. He knows. He knows how much you can bear. He'll never put on you what you're not able to bear. If God brought you to it, God will bring you through it. He may not come when you want him. Have I got a witness here? But if you keep on believing, if you just hang on, he'll show up right on time. The Jewish historian Josephus reports that this woman was the widow of Obadiah, the Lord Chamberlain of King Ahab. While her husband lived, she was nourished in the lap of luxury. But when he died, she was reduced to the utmost poverty. The world that smiled on her in the days of her prosperity now frown on her because she's broke. She was up there. Now she's down here. While her husband lived, she was always full, had everything she needed. All her needs were provided. She had a friend, she had a lover, she had a protector, she had a provider. Everything she needed was in her lap. And now he's dead. And she's got some problems. She's got a burden in her heart. She has boys on her hands. And she's got barrenness in her home. Burden in her heart because her husband is dead. Boys on her hands, which leads her to despair. Barrenness in her home because she's in debt. She's in debt, and the debtors are about to take her sons and throw them into debtor's prison, because the book of Deuteronomy says they have a right to take her sons and put them in prison until they pay their debt. You have to keep in mind that there are no social safety nets in that time. There's no aid for dependent children. There's no welfare. There's no widow's compensation. There's no retirement for sons of the prophet. The prophet is poor. I was thinking about it this morning and getting ready to come to church. I'm blessed of God beyond measure. But when I was at my church at home, they had a philosophy, and I don't know if it was spoken or it was just the way things were. But my salary when I was at home, first starting to pastor, 20 years old, was $225 a month. And the philosophy, rather spoken or unspoken by the deacons at that time, was, Lord, if you keep him humble, we'll keep him broke. God did his part, and they did their part. But the point I'm trying to make is, brothers and sisters, when it seems that you are at your extremity, that becomes God's opportunity. He's waiting for you and for me to come to the end of ourselves. In the communication of his grace, the Most High makes our confession of helplessness the condition of his help. This woman is in despair. She's in debt because her husband is dead. She's burdened in her heart with 2 boys on her hands and barrenness in her home. The people who once looked up to her is now looking down on her. No more designer bags. No more summer vacations. No more good times and no more flashy dressing. She is down now to the bare minimum. And there may be this morning some people in this sanctuary are listening to me online. God has brought you down to the bare minimum. Not because he's against you, Not because he despises you, not because he's evil or capricious. God wants to empty you of you so he can fill you with him. Because when you are at your lowest, God steps right in to let you know that I will never leave you nor forsake you. As long as you can help yourself, God can't do anything with your life. But the moment you admit, I'm broken, I'm burdened, I'm barren, I'm bereft of anything that looks like success, God will leave you alone until you recognize that you can't get along without him. This woman, the scripture says, she cried. When Elisha saw this woman, she cried. This widow cries out to the man of God. And she says to the man of God, they are about to put my sons in debtor's prison. They are about to make my 2 boys slaves. That is God knowing our problems. But not only does God know our problems, in verses 2 through 4, God releases our potential. It's right here in the text. Elijah said to her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? She answered, your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. He said, go outside, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels and not just a few. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your children and start pouring into all these vessels. When each is full, set it aside. The Lord erased the widow's faith in herself by asking 2 questions that we ought to ask the poor this morning. What do you need? And what do you have? That's the sermon right there. What do you need? And what do you have? Instead of volunteering to give her benevolence, like a wise and judicious friend, he inquires how far she herself has the power to avert the threatened calamity. He will help her help herself. See how quiet you got right there? The only way we can benefit the poor is to help them to help themselves. No help from without can benefit when there is no willingness to self-help from within. If you are not willing to help yourself, us giving you something is not going to help you. We do not help the poor by just giving them something without helping them get a job. I don't want to just give you benevolence. I want you to go to work. I want you to be able to take care of yourself. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you will be a permanent cripple.
Good evening, everybody. This is the DCN breaking in for a few. I will begin to talk at 1 o'clock. But in the meantime, continue to listen to Reverend Terry K. Anderson, holding it together while falling apart.
Parents, help me preach a minute. You don't help your children giving them everything. Because what you are always given, you have no appreciation for. You have no interest where you have no investment. If you didn't work for it, if you didn't struggle for it, you have no appreciation for it. You can walk away and leave it, and it'll go down to nothing. All over this neighborhood are houses that old people work for, gave their last for, left it to their children and to their grandchildren, and it's falling on the ground because they won't even pay the taxes on it. Because you have no interest where you have no investment. If you haven't worked for it, if it's just been given to you, you won't appreciate it. But you appreciate that car when you got to pay a note on it. No, when you didn't pay for it, you don't change the oil. You don't get the inspection sticker changed. But when you pay for it, you're conscientious about it. You didn't pay for them clothes, your children just walk out their clothes and leave them on the floor. But when they start paying for them, they hang them up and wear them again the next day. Talk back to me if you can. If you have not worked for it, if you have not earned it, you don't appreciate it. But this matter of helping her, Elisha could have spoke the word or paid the debt himself. But Elisha said, what do you need and what you got in your house? Because everything you need is right under your nose. You're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're looking on the other side in somebody's yard where the grass looks green. It could be artificial turf. You thinking these folk got it all together and their marriages, all of that. They go home and don't even speak to each other. You think these people are doing fine because they are driving this or they are wearing that. You don't know what them people did to get to where they are or to have what they have. Stop crying about what you don't have and thank God for what you have left. Little becomes much. Somebody ought to help me preach here. When you place it in the master's hand, and listen, when you are grateful for a little, you don't care if stuff's been taken away from you. You can't hurt nobody who don't care about stuff. You can't destroy anybody's self-esteem that's not wrapped up in stuff. If you don't care about no car, you don't care about no clothes, you can lose that stuff in the morning and come back to church Sunday morning and say, I am thine, O Lord. I've heard thy voice and it told thy love to me, and I long to rise in the arms of faith and be closer, draw me nearer. I wish I had a witness here. If the Lord takes everything from me right now, I didn't have it before he gave it to me. And I was shouting before he gave it to me. And since I was shouting before he gave it to me, the Lord gives. And the Lord takes away. Blessed. I wish I had somebody who could help me say that. The only folk who can shout right now is folk who are not tied to their stuff. Because if you're not tied to your bank account, or you're not tied to no man or to no woman or no house or no car, no clothes or no cash, hallelujah! I have decided to follow Jesus. The world behind me, the cross before me. You can have this whole world. Give me Jesus.
Good evening again, everybody. This is the DCN Smoke. We're going to start in about 5 minutes with the talk. So continue to listen to Reverend Terry K. Anderson holding it together while falling apart.
I don't have to have a whole lot of folk around me. I just need some faithful friends and some loving partners who are praying for me and asking God to bless me, and I'm asking God to bless them. I'm not envious of what they have. I'm not jealous about where God is bringing them. I can shout when you get a brand new house. I can give God praise when you become a millionaire because I can borrow some money from you. I don't need all my friends to be broke. I need some friends with some money. Talk back to me if you can. Broke folk ain't got no business hating on folk with money. Get with them and they can teach you how to get what they have. Because the same God that blessed them. Have I got a witness here? I'm running out of time. And I'm not even halfway through with this little word. But here's how God releases potential. What do you have in your house? The woman said, I have a flask of oil. I got some oil. And the oil, since her husband was a preacher, the oil was probably a flask of anointing oil. But since it had not been used since her husband died, she forgot she had it. In her home was something significant, something sacred, and she risked the capacity to be saved because the something that she had, significant, sacred, was slighted. The flask was in a corner somewhere. The oil was just on the counter. And she hadn't paid it any attention since her husband died. What she needed had been overlooked. And it's easy to overlook the blessings God sent in your life. There are some people that God will use to bless you, but you overlook it. There are some things that you have right under your nose that God will bless you with, significant, sacred, and will save you, but you slight it because it doesn't cost anything. Elisha said, what you got in your house? She said, I got some oil. He said, go borrow some vessels and don't borrow a few. Her potential, her ability to be blessed was, first of all, personal. She had to get the vessels. You missed the shot. God is getting ready to work a miracle, but he needs her cooperation. And God wants to bless your life this morning, but you got to participate in your own miracle. You don't have to take my word for that. Jesus turned water to wine, but he told him, go fill the water pots. Jesus healed a woman who had an issue of blood, but she had to grab his clothes. Jesus fed 5,000 men, not counting women and children, but they had to go get him 2 fish and 5 loaves. God wants to give you a job, but you got to get up and go look for one. God wants to heal your body, but you got to go to the doctor. There are some things you got to do if you want God to bless you. God will work a miracle with your cooperation. Lord, I need a blessing. Lord, if you don't mind, help me, Jesus. Put some clothes on. Dress yourself. Look like you got some sense. And go apply for a job. And it just may be that God will get in the heart of the person hiring, because you know he holds the heart of the king in his hand. And the Bible says he can turn it however he pleases. God can take somebody who is unqualified and make them look qualified in the eyes of the person who's hiring. That's a miracle. As ignorant as I am, I ain't got no business pastoring Lily Grove. But God can take somebody from Eunice, Louisiana, and turn the hearts of the people in Houston at Lily Grove Church and have me standing up in this grand sanctuary this morning to testify that he can take you from nowhere and take you from nobody and make you somebody.
All right, good evening, everybody. What a great stopping point. However, I know y'all don't want to hear me, and I know you want to hear Reverend Terry K. Anderson, but I just stopped by for a little while to share with you on this situation with Dr. Thomas L. Walker, who deserved better. Now, I need to begin by saying I have not talked to Pastor Tim Walker, Pastor T.J. Walker, nor Teresa Walker. So I don't know how they're going to receive this. But again, our black culture, everybody know. Everybody talk about folk. I am different. Yeah, I talk about folk because folk talk about me. But that don't make me mad with them. That's our culture. But I am different. I tell people what I want, what I say. If I don't tell them to their face. And if it's something that is public, I do it public. Be social media or whatever. I want them to know what I said. When they say get it from the horse's mouth. How y'all wanna put it. I say what I mean and mean what I say. Now let me get on into it. I want y'all to know I don't need no validation on what I say and do. I don't need no responses. If you want to respond, I have no problem with that. You can respond for or against what I have to say, but it doesn't matter. Neither one of them, whether you agree with me or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change. The only thing that would change, if I happen to say something and it be incorrect, and you want to correct me in the chat, in the comments, then do so. But I am going to talk about what I know with the facts as presented to me. I've said many times, when I err, I have no problem with making necessary corrections. Now, the other thing, I just lost, no, I don't like that. That's another thing in the black culture. Matter of fact, I just went, I keep sympathy cards in my car. And I try to pick ones that does not say sorry for your loss. If you like me, just had a hour service, non-traditional. I'm sick of tradition. Some things is good, but some things need to be changed. And I can make the change that I want to make when it comes to tradition and non-tradition that I got control of. On Sunday evening, I had a non-traditional service for my father. You can go on Facebook and look at it, and I'm going to put it on YouTube at some point in time soon. Just like this would be moved over to YouTube. But on Sunday, I had a service for my dad, 1 hour. I stated that after 3 o'clock on Monday, when they brought him out and put his body in the ground, that I got time. See, because I've been out here in the community fighting since the 80s and still fighting some of the same fights. And so I am not going to stop now. I'm going to take it to another whole level. I lost. See, that's what I'm saying. That's that black culture. My mother transitioned in September 17, 1997. My dad transitioned September 18th, 2025. I took care of both of them until the last hour. So I have nothing holding me down. I am not sad. I am not grieving. I gave them their flowers while they were living. Some folk don't get that opportunity. And that's the problem. I don't care who it is. I am all about family. We might not get along or whatever, but it ain't on my part. I try to get along with everybody. But I am Camillus Dancy II. My dad is Camillus Dancy Sr., and my son is Camillus Dancy III. 3 generations. I look at Reverend Dr. Thomas Walker. His son, Pastor Timothy Walker. His son, Pastor T.J. Walker Jr. So I'm comparing us in that perspective. So I'm going to get on into what I came to talk about. Again, when things are done publicly, they need to be responded to publicly. How do I know Dr. Walker? I've been knowing Dr. Walker since the 80s. I graduated in 1981. However, that's when I got into politics, the late 80s. Well, I was into it, but got into it more in depth. Black Workers for Justice, the NAACP, Edgecombe County Democratic Party, meetings in Rocky Mount, all kinds of spaces, meeting at his church. So therefore, we go way back. And it's some stuff that we go way back that I will not get into today. It bothers me because, when this thing, let me see where I want to go. I was gonna do some. I like typing up my stuff and be able to read by it. But I was gonna do it, but I just couldn't even sit down and do this. I'm just gonna talk off the top of my head. But going back over the years, I used to go to his church. You look forward to the candlelight service, Martin Luther King candlelight service. That's when he introduced us to Reverend Dr. William J. Barber. Reverend Eddie Wayne Lawrence had some dynamic speakers that come through Ebenezer Baptist Church. I look forward to the candlelight service over the years. Although we had some disagreements when it came to politics, candidates, I still had much respect for the man. But he knew where I stood because I told him. Over the past couple of years, when his health started failing, I kept up with him to a certain degree. Still going to meetings over at the church, and I remember the last Dr. Martin Luther King event. They had the Reverend Ricky Banks, another powerful speaker. I had never been to the church, Ebenezer Baptist Church. I had never been to the church and never seen Dr. Walker say anything. I would sit up on the first row on one end, and he came in, he and his wife, and they sat on the other end of the first row. But let me back up. I always get permission before I go in anybody's church to video if I am just there and has not been hired or singled out to do it, and I know that they took care of that. But the first thing I did when I came in, I was looking for the video man. I went upstairs. I was sent upstairs. First time I ever been upstairs in all these years since the 80s, and talked to the video guy. Since Reverend Walker hadn't got there yet, or he was in the back or whatever, and he said, "Man, you know how you and Reverend Walker do. You know you can video anytime you come over here." Yes, but I still done it. I still done it every time. Again, I never had been over there, and he never, he always gotten up and spoken. And although I love me some Dr. Ricky Banks, his message was powerful. He's short, but it was just something about not hearing Reverend Dr. Thomas Walker not say not one thing, and that hurt me because I know the type of man he is. I'm gonna say is. Over the past, I'm gonna fast forward because I don't want to hold y'all long, but I'm gonna fast forward to I got to hearing about Reverend Walker's not preaching. Let me back up. Pastor T.J. Walker, Mama, is my daddy's first cousin. TJ just preached his grandmama's funeral about 2 Saturdays ago. They had a first cousin that was buried a couple of weeks before that, and then my daddy was buried. Had his service on Sunday. So we are family. We don't always agree. We don't always agree on stuff, but for me, we are family. No matter what that we disagree on, but we move forward. That's with anything and anybody for me. So this thing right here, again, like I said, I haven't talked to any of them, Pastor Tim, Pastor TJ, nor Teresa. So I don't know how they're gonna receive this, but it's okay. Because like I said, if anybody can need to make some necessary corrections, can prove whatever I say is not true, then tell me and I'll make the necessary corrections. But over the years, as his health has been failing, I've been hearing stuff, seeing stuff, like I said, talk to him over the years, when I see him out or whatever. And for the last, I don't know how long, I seen where things was headed in another direction. And you hear people, like I said, we as black folk, we talk. That's our culture. Again, we need to change our culture that need to be changed. So I was hearing about Reverend Dr. Walker when he had open heart surgery, that he had told the church that will you please consider my son, Pastor Tim J. Walker Sr., to come in, consider him to come in and be the pastor if I should not come off the operating table. Now, let's make it clear. That's not what I didn't talk to him. But the people that I talked to, I trust in them. I don't repeat stuff that I don't trust in the people until people mislead me or lie to me. So up until now, I have not had any problems with repeating something that someone have told me. If it's somebody that I had a problem with, I wouldn't even be repeating it. But he came out of the hospital, got back up, rolling, and I understand that he changed his mind. He want to keep on preaching. Okay. I understand that Tim used to come over and preach on 8 o'clock service, and how well he was received, and the people loved him. I understand when his health started failing him, Reverend Walker, he could not preach. And I understand nearly a year he has not been able to preach. And they kept him on. out of respect. When they seen that his health was really failing him, well, some had not seen him, and they was trying to see him, and you know, for some reason, whatever, the church, some had were not able to see him, and so therefore, I understand that last year, in October, November, they asked the pastor to resign, and the pastor did not. I understand that they said, wait till the first of the year. And so, still, he did not want to resign. So they put it before the church, a vote. And I can't remember. I understand it was 2 questions. I know one was, do you feel your pastor has been fulfilling his duties? Now, I'm saying that's what I get so much stuff. Just like right now, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm getting messages. I stay overwhelmed. Sometimes I don't even have time to even post what I want to post. And so I understand that they put it to a vote. I did remember what the count was. I know it was like out of 90-some people, about 90-some people voted that they wanted to release him, and so that was the majority. I don't understand how people say he was fired. To me, it makes no sense. That is negative. Why would you even put that out there? Why would you say they fired the pastor? When obviously something ain't adding up, because I just don't believe that was him to hold up progress, knowing that his son had the possibility, more than likely 99% of the people was going to support him to become the pastor of the church. If something would have happened to Reverend Walker, or if he had stepped down. So I don't understand how you could say the man was fired, the church fired him, and then his son will consider being the pastor. I'm just having a hard time with that. Why would Tim want to go preach at a church that his daddy had if he thought that he was fired or treated some type of way? Y'all help me understand. Now, that's what I want you to do on that part. Help me understand. The church is going to fire the daddy and hire, we say hire the son. But I look at it as not hiring and firing, but as votes. Votes. I don't want to think about no hiring and firing a preacher, a pastor. That don't even sound right. Okay, we talking about a job. But anyway, I just don't understand. I understand that it was some, for some reason, Pastor Tim and Pastor TJ. Now, I ain't talked to them. I have not talked to them. I have not talked to them all this time. No more speak to them. They come to my church and preach sometime. Love to hear them 2 brothers preach and sing. And for this, I want to say, I say this. Reverend Dr. Thomas L. Walker could preach and he could sing. But I enjoyed the younger ones better. Hear it from me. I love to hear those guys preach. Reverend Walker was good back in the day for me. But these 2 guys are some powerful speakers. I mean, preachers and singers. I love to hear those guys. But I just don't understand. The talk was they didn't get they didn't get a chance to talk to the granddaddy, and stuff. So, that's something totally that they can talk about. But what I am gonna fast forward to, because I don't hear y'all long enough. When the vote came through, everybody was telling me about how Bronson Williams was all up in it. I don't look at his show. They was telling me about he did a show. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he had Reverend Walker's wife on the show. But what I can tell you is he and I had a conversation because he sent me a message. And there's been many messages that he have sent me, because when he called me after he and his mama and his dad threatened me in the city chambers, talking about I didn't live in Rocky Mount at a city council meeting, and we went to court and all that. But since the Democratic Party county election earlier this year, and he's been talking to me about politics because he's running. But when he called, I didn't pick up majority of the time because I want him to leave me a message or send me a text so I can have it documented. Because, see, I ain't never been mad with him. Because, see, again, I ain't got time for a whole lot of foolishness. I ain't mad with nobody. I can tell people, if I can talk to Reverend Dr., well, not Reverend Dr., but Reverend Roosevelt Higgs, who have called, and y'all have heard the messages he left on my voicemail. But I've had that Negro down at my house, cutting trees down in my yard, because his brother always cut my grass. He used to live across the street from me, and then he moved to Rocky Mount, and he still come and cut the lot beside me. I cut my own grass now, but I ain't mad with nobody. But I understand Bronson was all up in the business, and like I said, we had a conversation about Adam and all these kinds of things. And then I seen one of the church members in Sam's Club one day, and we got to talking, and he brought it up about him running for office, and he said he didn't live in his ward, but he still wouldn't vote for him no way, all over there in the church, all up in the church business. And so we have a lot of folk, and y'all can say what you want to about me, but you have a lot of folk that's in it for division now. This might cause some division. I don't know how folk gonna receive it. I'm talking about family now, the ones I named. Anybody else? Well, they got a sister, Teresa Walker Manson. I'm assuming she's still a Manson. I haven't seen her, talked to her in years. The wives, TJ wife, Brianna, they went to school up there with my daughter at Central. I didn't know her. My daughter was telling me who she was and stuff. My daughter came out a year before they did. Annette Walker, like I say, we are her. My daddy was second cousin, so that make me and her third cousin. I haven't talked to none of them about this, so I don't know how they're gonna receive this, but it's okay. But getting back to Bronson, I understand he was all up in it, all this TV show. And see, they was telling me some stuff about how he owed Reverend Walker some money. Now, hey, I'm just telling you about what I heard. So if anybody can prove me wrong, then hey, I'm just telling you what I heard. And I trust in the folk that I talk to. But then I kept hearing about the people in the church. They had no access to the pastor. I heard that the pastor was even talking about stepping down and bringing Tim and TJ in, and then 3 of them be in the church at one time. He would be the overseer. I'm assuming Tim would have been the pastor, and TJ probably the youth pastor. Can you imagine 3 generations pastors in the same building? That's historical. That's monumental. Everybody don't get that. And like I say, that's how it bothers me, because I am a third generation. I mean, I'm the second generation. My daddy, Camilla's dancing senior. I'm second, and my son is third. So I feel them. But I don't know what they feel. But what I do know is what I've been hearing. It's been bothering me. I'm gonna skip over some stuff. I'm just gonna skip over because it's been on long enough. I think you get my point. When I heard about the morning I got a call, I went to Thorn Chapel, video their 100th church anniversary and homecoming. When I left the church, got in my car, went by Office Depot, had some calls made, went to Western Sizzling. And when I got ready to leave Western Sizzling, no, let me back up. When I was on the way to Western Sizzling, I got a message, a screenshot of somebody had posted that rest in peace, Thomas Walker. And people reach out to me because they said if Camilla said it, or if he don't know what's going on, he gonna research it. So they'll say, Camilla, this is what happened. This is what I want you to check out. Do you know about this? I said, no, I had not heard that he had a transition. And I think this was like 1 o'clock. I mean, a little after 1. And so I was like, wow, come on now. So I made some phone calls. Couldn't find out anything. Went to Western Sizzling, sitting there for a while, hoping I would hear something. Well, I understand that people were calling around trying to find out. I think I did talk to somebody, and they said they had heard it, but they didn't know for sure. So when I was leaving, I got a call from someone saying, I called TJ to tell him condolences about, no, sorry to hear about your granddad. I don't think she said condolences. I think they said, sorry to hear about your granddad. And that TJ said, what you talking about? She said, oh, Lord. So then, I understand they was calling all around. I know I was calling all around. And I was asking, you know, does that mean I heard about it before he did? The family. And, and I still got that message on my phone, the screenshot, the person name that put out that rest in peace, Reverend TLW. It's still on my phone. Somebody sent it to me. I didn't recognize the person's name though. But anyway, when I was on the way home, when the person called me and told me that, and I said, I didn't even call you. I should have called you. I said, but thank you for calling. So then, they said that TJ had tried to find out, and I think they said he had said that it was true. But then I got some more calls saying that it won't be confirmed. So then later on, about 5:30, 5:30, I got a call saying that it was true. That Pope had reached out to the family. I said, good. I said, at least we know. But then later I found out that he supposedly had transitioned early that morning. And this was late that evening. And I was told that Reverend Tim had preached at the church that day and said he preached his tail off. Y'all, I might cuss. I'll tell you, I let everybody know I cuss. I ain't there yet. I let my church know, my pastor know. When he got on Facebook, I said, bro, you might as well be in. Because I am who I am. I ain't there yet. So, but anyway, I heard he preached They say he preached like never before. The brother can preach anyhow. So I don't know what he did that Sunday, because the brother preached every time I've heard him. And say he went to the back of the door and stood and greeted people going out. This man, daddy, was dead, had transitioned at that time. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Stand up in your daddy's church that he preached around 54, 55 years. You in there preaching hard, and your daddy done transition. And nobody had reached out to him. Now, fast forward to what I was hearing. I'm going to skip over stuff. Like I said, I ain't got it written down, so I'm just freelancing. I started hearing about the funeral. You know, everybody talking, as black folk talk, that black culture. Again, folk talking, I talk. But also, I'm going to let you know what I talk about. So, when somebody tell you what I said, this is what I said. So, was hearing about, they said, well, when is it going to let the church be involved? When is it going to let the church be involved? And I'm like, Lord have mercy. Please, please, please. Include the church. Include the children. Got a daughter up in, I forgot where she's from. I think she got the same sickness her mother had. I know he got a sister, Reverend Walker got a sister. They were very close. I'm praying, please, please let this family be involved. So kept hearing stuff and hearing that this gonna happen, that gonna happen. And I take that back. I take that back. I hadn't talked to Reverend Walker's wife. But I got to hearing about the role that Reverend Gaillard was going to play, the role that Pastor Grant was going to play. And I was like, okay. I heard that the venue was going to be the event center. And I was like, so what I did do, I text her and say, Reverend Walker used to be a county commissioner. Now, I don't know if it costs for the event center or not. Like I told you, I ain't talking about it. But what I do know is I text her. I called Commissioner Viola Harris because she works at Edgecombe Community College in Tarboro. And I say, Reverend Walker used to be a county commissioner. I said, and he ought to be able to get, they ought to be able to get the Keyham Auditorium for free. And if it didn't, we as a community ought to have chipped in. So she said, yes, maybe she'll call me. I text her. I text Reverend Walker's wife and told her, I said, I didn't tell her, but I had talked to Commissioner Harris, but I told her, I said, Reverend Walker used to be a county commissioner. I said, I'm quite sure that they could have that, you could have the funeral at Keyham Auditorium. And why I said the Keyham Auditorium was, you got it already set up. I was looking at the parking for the event center, how it would be for elderly people, for anybody. The parking that they're working on trying to get over there for the event center. But you could have had the whole campus. Even if you had to walk from one side of the campus to the other side, it still would have been better. And you could have had some vans out there taking people. It could have been all worked out. It just would have been so much better. You could have put them in the Keyham Auditorium. You could have set them in when you first walk in. You could have put them over there in some classrooms. They could have seen it on all the TVs. So, the next thing I know, somebody sent it to me. It was online. They're going to be at the visit center. Well, okay. I didn't know hear back from them. But what I did hear from is I got a call, and they want to know did I have any pictures of Andre Knight and Councilman Blackwell in some pictures with Reverend Walker. I said, I don't know. I said, I had to go through all my pictures. I had to go way back. I had to go on my Facebook Live and go to my albums. And so, I found time to do it, but it was tough. Excuse me. But, anyway, and I hope ain't nobody posting no foolishness on my page. I will delete it. I was looking at while I'm trying to get through this thing. So I'm not even looking at my phone or looking at if anybody come in or who is coming on board. But again, and then they tell me that she wanted a picture of me and Reverend Walker. And I said, well, if you got a picture of me and Reverend Walker, I don't get in pictures. Very seldom I get in pictures. I said, especially it won't be on my cameras. I said, but if Boogaloo Johnson, Teresa Austin Stokes, or Will Manley caught me on in a picture with him, I said, that's who you would need to talk to. Okay. So then, again, the black folk talk. I got to hear about, I'm just telling you what I heard now. I'm telling you what I heard, so anybody can correct me. TJ can correct me. I ain't talking to TJ. I heard they wanted to have something at Ebenezer, a gospel thing. And I was told that they couldn't do it. Then I was told there was gonna be a reception, a meet and greet or something over at the Impact Center on the same day they was talking about having the concert at Ebenezer. Then I got to hear that who was gonna preach the funeral? Bernard Grant. The reception gonna be at Word Tabernacle. And you know, even today, I don't even know where the reception was. That's what I heard. I don't even know whether they had it there or not. I do know that the reception was at the Impact Center. We're out in Westmount. Put it like that. I reckon it's the Impact Center. And then I got to hear that one gonna burn beside where his wife was buried. That he was gonna go to Nashville. Mr. Edgecombe County, Mr. One Day at a Time, was gonna be buried in Nash County. Okay. Fast forward on, cause I'm about tired of even talking about it. But he was my friend. Like I said, and although we disagreed on several things, and I used to hold him accountable and stuff, but I could talk about some other stuff, you know. But anyway, on the day of the funeral, well, people asked me, was I going? I said, no, I am not. I said, plus I got something to do in Tarboro to video. I said, but even if that, I still wouldn't go because it's too much confusion. I said, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be there. But I might as well be there because people send me stuff all the time. I'm videoing in Tarboro. I get a message, text, the obituary. I get another text. The Walker family has gotten up and walked out. When Reverend Walker's wife got up to speak, I was told that the Walker family and some church members got up and walked out. I was like, wow. They talked about where the body was lying, behind a petition and all that kind of stuff. I don't have to go places, y'all. People feed me information, but I don't share a lot of information. I am not defying crime in hood news. I try to share stuff that people could use or something. And somebody calling me. What are they calling me for? if you are online and you're calling me, send me a text, please. Let me see what's going on here. You might be trying to tell me you can't hear me or something. Let me see what's going on. Let me see, can I hear myself? Can y'all, if you can hear me, if you can hear me, do thumbs up in the chat right quick. Oh, I can hear myself, so I think I'm good. Okay, I can hear myself. Open my phone back up, but I understand that like I said, I hear it's gonna be better than natural. I can say everything I have said, y'all. If anybody can prove me wrong, please do. I like to be correct. I like to be held accountable, and I hold other folk accountable. I've been out here in Edgecombe County, but not limited to, all over the counties and across the state, doing what I do. I didn't just start this yesterday, so don't get it twisted. I lost my thought now. Like I said, that's why I like to write stuff down, because so much stuff be going through my mind. So let me see, can I get back somewhere? Let me see where I want to get to. Okay. After the services, I understand that I understand that when the Walker family walked out, I was told that they went over to Ebenezer, and I want to think they said that Tim sung a couple of songs. I might be wrong. And I understand that they at Smithfield Barbecue catered, and they said in the, and I want to think they said they read the church papers or something. And that all need to be done on that day, no matter where it was. So I'm glad they did that, if I'm not mistaken. That they said he sung a couple songs and read the church paper, and they had Smithfield Barbecue to cater. I think that's what I was told. Okay. And I'm really going on and get on towards the end. Y'all should get where I'm coming from. I'm talking about my friend, the Reverend Dr. Thomas Walker. On this past Sunday morning, on Saturday evening, I did a post about black culture and funerals. And really, I've been talking about the black culture for years. How we do stuff when it comes to funerals. And just by happen, my daddy transitioned on September the 18th. And I was telling folk, this is not going to be traditional. The services for him would not be traditional. I had a cousin wife send me a message saying she wanted to be there. She wanted to know when, because she wanted to take a vacation day. I had a cousin tell me she was going to take 3 days vacation. And I told her, look, I said, no. I said, what y'all need to just keep in mind that it's going to be convenient. And it will, and I didn't even tell my wife. I talked to my son, because my son was close to my daddy. When I went and made the arrangements, and then he and I got together and we sit down and talk. I had the services 1 hour Sunday evening, and then they brought the body out and buried them Monday at 3 o'clock. But on Sunday morning, I got a call from a third party, because I had posted Saturday. That's what I'm getting back to. On Saturday, I had posted about something about Reverend Walker. I don't know exactly how it was now, because I posted a couple things. But I got a call from a third party on Sunday morning, early, saying that his wife wanted to talk to me and wanted to do a three-way, and that she wanted me to hear her side. I said, well, actually, I don't really need to hear her side. Just tell her side. That's all she need to do. I said, but she has my phone number, and I have her phone number. If you heard me say earlier, I text her. She had my phone number. I have hers. And I told the person, he said, well, I'll tell them to just call you direct. I said, but tell them don't call me today because I'm getting ready for my daddy's service 5 o'clock this evening. I said, but anytime. I could have said anytime after Monday evening 3 o'clock. Like I kept telling y'all after 3 o'clock. Monday evening, I got time now. So and I got some stuff I want to say. Publicly, privately, to family, friends, and whomever. So I have not heard from her. I understand she was at the city council meeting Monday night when I went to it. Somebody texted me and said Miss Walker was there. And that first thing came to mind was TJ Mama. And then I got to thinking, I said, no, they must be talking about Real Walker wife. So when I got there, I didn't see him. And I understand they left early, so I still didn't see him. My point is, I have not talked to Pastor Tim Walker, Pastor TJ Walker, nor Teresa Walker. That's my point. And so, just where we are now. Oh, let me go back. I don't believe out. So that's what I'm going to tell you. I got to write down. I heard about during the funeral that they wanted to I guess have like some armor barrels or something like that, or whatever you want to call it, around the casket. I used to be a Mason back in the day. I got out. I enjoyed the Masons, dressing up and fellowship with brothers. But just some of the things that some of the brothers did, I just couldn't get with it. Folks used to talk about, it was sickening, and I used to tell them, if you went strictly by the Bible like we supposed to have, and we are supposed to take care of the widows. Take care of the widows. I said, but it's just like anything else. People abuse it, and I just couldn't be a part of it. So I told them, I said, the Masons, because I had forgot all about Reverend Walker was a Mason. I said, but the Masons carry out, they stand with the body, they switch out. They do a ceremony. I said, so they don't need nobody else to, I think they had the honor guard. I was told they had the honor guard from the, supposedly from the sheriff office, Edgecombe and Nash County, and Rocky Mount Police Department. But I understand, I don't think the police department nor, and I don't know what they did or not. I can't remember. I heard something about it. And the Nash County Sheriff Office, I don't think they had nobody there. But anyway, I know Edgecombe County was there. But again, that's what the Masons does. The Masons stay with the body. They carry out a ceremony at the graveside. I done videoed over 300 people, funeral people. One of my classmates was a Mason. I think he'd been transitioned about a year now, a little over a year. And I didn't video that one, but I maybe wish that they had somebody didn't want it a video, but I think they thought about it later. I think I had a conversation with them. But I had video of many funerals and Masons carried them out. But let me go ahead and fast forward. Let me get to the end. And I don't care who get mad. I don't care. But I want to end by saying that we as a community failed Pastor T.J. Walker, Pastor Timothy Walker, Pastor T.J. Walker, them two guys being a pastor and their family, Ebenezer Baptist Church. I think Pastor Timothy Walker Church, Tim Walker Church. I'm familiar with that one. Never been there, but Walnut Grove, up around Lewisburg, I think. They understand he had a church in Virginia. And then TJ got a church in Weldon. So you're talking about Ebenezer Church, Reverend Dr. Walker, been there for 54, 55 years. I spent much time over there, meetings and services and funerals and video and the church family slighted. Pastor Tim Walker churches come to want to support him. Do you know how embarrassing that is? It's embarrassing for me just to even sit here, damn it, and talk about, oh Lord, I done got into that mode, but I am who I am. And then T.J. Walker Church. Do you see how many people that is? That's not counting other folk in Edgecombe County and across the state and nation that has been affected by this. The Ministerial Alliance should have tried to reach out, bring the families together, set them down in one room. If they didn't want to do it, fine, but you can't say you didn't try and try to come to some kind of agreement. It's no damn way, y'all, that those two guys should not have preached their daddy's funeral. I got a problem with that. Excuse me, y'all. Let me walk around. Y'all, I got a problem with that. Somebody said that they could do it. They still had time. They could do something. Ain't nothing they can do now that would equate to what they could have done then. Like I said, I just had a service for my daddy. I was able to carry it out. I feel, and I don't know what they feeling because they ain't talked to them, but I feel, because there's no way that them guys should have been disrespected. Both of them being pastors. It's a whole totally different thing if they were not pastoring and you were trying to come up with a pastor. Now, I was told on Sunday morning that he had wanted somebody else to preach the funeral, but he had died, and I'm not going to even call his name. Folk know, and I was saying that after he died, Reverend Walker said that he never said who he wanted to do. I'm just telling you what I know, and I'm talking about facts now. I ain't talking about now. This right here is facts. So I got it. But anyway, I gotta bring this thing to a close. But again, the Ministerial Alliance should have brought them guys together and tried to work it out. It is embarrassing. None of the preachers, Reverend Burston, Mac Battle, Reverend Pastor Mac Battle used to be the head deacon over at Ebenezer. I know some things went down. Over there. People, that was back there in the 90s, I know it was in the 90s. People were sending me transcripts of what was going on over there at Ebenezer in the mail when something went down. I didn't never read them. Every time they went to court, somebody sent me transcripts. Y'all just don't know the information I get. Y'all just don't know. I got a call the other night about the shooting over there at Southwest, one of the family members. Y'all just don't know. People see me online. They see me in person, and they feel comfortable reaching out to me, having a conversation. I had to tell them, hey, I feel your pain, But you got to let the process work out. I know that's your children. And I had to talk to folks. I was in legal redress chair for the NAACP. People called me with complaints. And I had to tell them, you need a lawyer because your child is in trouble. Had a female, her daughter was being mistreated at school. Nobody stood with her. I stood with her, gave her guidance. She ended up suing that teacher. That teacher lost her job. It's a lot of things I do that people don't even understand. At the school shooting the other week, the next day, I had posted about it, and the grandmama sent me a text saying my daughter got trampled. I called to the school. I called her phone, and the principal answered it. Somebody had gave him the phone, and said he will get back to her Monday. I was at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I'm so damn crazy about this time I couldn't even remember who the principal was. And I've been videoing at Southwest ball games out of pocket since the 90s. And I was sitting there and I got to thinking, I video for the principal, mama, and I know him well. Used to video for him when he was the coach out there, but now he's the principal. It came to me. I didn't have his number, but I had his mama number. I called her. I said, you need to tell your son to call me. She said, well, he ain't gonna talk to you about the school. I said, I don't want to talk to him about what happened at the school. Hell, I can call the damn sheriff if I want to know what happened at the school. That's not what I'm calling about. I said, I need to talk to your son. She gave me his phone number. I said, look, I understand you got a female phone. And you say you're going to give it back to her on Monday. She needs her phone now. Because I go crazy without my phone, and I'm quite sure he do. But somebody paying the bill on that phone. I said, you need to get her phone either tonight, I'll come and get it, or you can send the sheriff, or the family can come and get it. I said, but you need to get her phone. Well, ain't nobody out there at the school, then the school locked up. I said, ain't nobody got no keys? He said, well, I'm going to church in the morning, and I'll call the family. I said, good. I called the family. I said, look, this is what I just done. I said, y'all let me know if he don't call you when he get out of church tomorrow. She need her phone. That was Sunday, but she didn't need to wait till Monday. She won't involved in what happened. She got trampled. I'm just giving y'all an example. That's what I do. And something you don't hear about. This is the first time I told this. Y'all, this thing has hurt me. I feel sorry for all that's involved. But these pastors out of line. I'm going to say this. When T.J. Walker and Elaine Williams ran for city council, that seat was not about T.J. and Elaine. It was about Gaillard and Walker. That's what that race was about. Amongst the folks that know the story. And when we was over at a candidates forum at Ebenezer, T.J. been in, 2 terms now? The first term he went in. Me and Ron Walker was sitting out there in the breezeway. And he told me, he said, you know, me and Gaillard was on the phone. Saying he thought he had hung up. And he said, Reverend Walker, he said to somebody, he hadn't hung up. Now, it was a lie, Reverend Walker told it, but I believe him. He said that he was telling somebody, yeah, Reverend Walker think he's the head Negro in charge in Rocky Mount, but I'm going to show him. So, y'all, I'm telling you, I know stuff. And I keep telling y'all that after 3 o'clock yesterday, on Monday, that I got some stuff to say. I got some stuff that I'm going to say. The video I played at my dad's service on Sunday evening when it first started out, it say, in your house, you need to walk around 7 times. The lady is a minister and preacher. That video had something in it for everybody that was there. But when she started out, she said, walk around the room 7 times and release some stuff. I'm going to release some stuff. I've been carrying some stuff around for a long time. I'm going to release it. I didn't nobody visit my daddy, but Jehovah's Witness and my son and Floyd Jenkins that you heard, he came faithfully. I'm not gonna get into that part again, but this, I'm just saying that I'm telling you, we gotta change the black culture. Our ministers gotta step up to the plate. Now I'm gonna close with this. It can't be redone, but I will hope that at some point in time that they can sit down and try to come to some conclusion, all this stuff. Bring this thing to some kind of closure. It will never be closed because those guys did not get a chance to carry out, be a part of what happened. Now, how can you dispute that when I was told that the family got up and walked out? Some things that I said, you saw it for yourself or you heard about it, so it can't be changed. But what can be done is come together and try to apologize or whatever needs to be done. If something was done on one side or the other, we got to come together. We just can't, black culture, we just can't continue like this. We got to come together. I'm just as serious as I can be. I tell you. Getting another call. Let me hang this phone. Answer by mistake. But I'm gonna go on and bring it to a closure. But I hope that the families come together. Again, I'm different. I talk. People talk about me, but trust me, you can go on my page. I've sent open letters to Galliard, Shelley Willingham. The list goes on. I say what I mean what I say. So this is nothing new. So don't get it twisted. And if anybody got a problem with it, that's their problem. There you have it. This has been the DCN Smoke. Y'all have a great day.